is the place where I can do whatever I want and where I have way more than enough of everything. Right? The Garden of Eden, whether you're religious or not, it's got this magical sort of, the Garden of Eden. Well, it might mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and in actual truth, words don't mean anything. They don't. It's the perceiver. It's the perceiver that is perceiving, that is defining, is dictating, is filtering the definition of those words. And that's happening all over the place. Every single moment, every single time. You can put 100 people in the same room, or 35 people in the same room, and you're all going to have a slightly different experience. I'm saying the same thing to every single one of you, and yet your experience and what you take from it is going to be different. Some people right now are just like, oh my God, this guy's so cool. Oh God, he's doing so many great things. I'm just so happy. And other people are like, oh. Right? We all have our own experience. It doesn't matter. It's all okay. It's all okay. We're free. We actually are free to be and to feel and to think and perceive what we want to. Now, simultaneously, our experience is dictated by where we're coming from. So the more we judge, the more that energetic vibration of that judgment is going to manifest in our life and in our existence. And the reason why I don't judge people is not to be good. It's not to be holy. It's not to be great. It's not to be the savior. It's because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It feels way better to just be like, okay, you're doing what you're doing, and I disagree. No judgment. I just disagree, and I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to play with you either, but I'm not going to try to change you. So in the Garden of Eden, every single year it's just more delicious than it was the year before. We've got this huge, amazing garden, best produce. You can't buy it. You can't buy produce like this. Definitely not at a store. You might be able to grow produce like this if you dedicate your life to the garden. Right? The garden is the foundation. It is the foundation for what we're doing. And the most amazing food grows there. We have way more food than we can possibly eat. Like, way more food than we can possibly eat. We can eat as much of it as we want to. Like, we don't count any calories. We don't have any breakfast or lunch or dinner times. Sometimes I just eat cheesecake for dinner because that's what I want to do. Sometimes I eat ice cream for dinner, and sometimes I don't eat for 6 days. There's no schedule. There's no have to, supposed to, and should. I just do whatever I want to do. And when I want to eat cheesecake, I eat cheesecake. And I eat 3 pieces of it at one time for my dinner. And sometimes I don't eat any food at all. And I don't not eat food because I'm like, okay, I've got to stay skinny. I can't let myself gain weight. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. I'm just listening. I'm just honoring what is truly important to me. I'm allowing myself to have the experience that I want to have. And because I'm in harmony, right, it's all energy. Everything is just all energy. And because I'm in love with myself, because I'm in love with my life, right, because I am doing what feels good, then my body is a natural manifestation of that. It's a natural manifestation of that. My body just somehow stays clean and it stays healthy and it stays strong. I haven't worked out in 11 years. 10 years. I still got a 6-pack. It's just part of living a holistic life. Right? So this is important to me. That's all I'm here to say. That's all I'm here to say is what I have found, the secret, the magic of life. And you glean from it whatever you want to. This life is an amazing opportunity. It is an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity. Okay, well, let's look at some contrast. Let's look at some contrast because, like I said, when I grew up, I didn't get to experience that Garden of Eden. Right? I got to experience that have to, supposed to, and should. I make the rules, and you follow the rules. Fuck that shit, Sucks. It totally sucks. It really does. No one likes it. Nobody does. I've never met a single person that likes being told what to do. I've met a lot of people that have accepted it. I've met a lot of people that have, decided, well, this is the way the world is. Discipline is important, I know children that I grew up with. And, they had parents that would, from my perspective, maliciously beat them. And it's really actually not that uncommon. I think that a very high percentage of population, gets physically beaten as a child. And they never liked it. They never liked it. They always complained about it. Sometimes they'd cry about it. Sometimes they would be scared and terrified about it. And yet when they became adults, they sort of, oh, well, it was for my own good. I don't know what I would have done if, my parents didn't beat me with that fire poker. And so it's just this really crazy thing. It's this really crazy thing. So there is pain, right? There is darkness. There is suffering that's going on. While I'm waking up in the morning, we're going lying out in the sun naked and drinking fresh squeezed juice, and my children wake up and we kiss each other and we hug each other and we swing on the swing and we jump on the trampoline and we go out to the garden and we just, for half an hour, pick the freshest, most delicious food we can possibly eat, and we just feed each other and we, breathe fresh air, and then we go swimming, and then, we eat some more food, and we, this really amazing, free, beautiful, super blessed life and experience. And then, there's other children that are, they're waking up in a crib, and they're screaming and they're crying, and their parents either don't hear them or don't care. Gotta let them scream, you gotta let them cry, otherwise they're going to be spoiled and they're always going to be demanding, blah, 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 blah. I completely disagree with that. 100% in every single way disagree with that. But that doesn't make it wrong. I'm not judging anybody that does that. I'm just saying, for the record, I'm putting myself totally on the line right now. I'm just being transparent and I'm just being authentic. This is what I see. This is what I believe. If you don't like it, get up and leave. I'm not forcing you to be here. If you do like it, ask yourself, if that were possible, would that be something I wanted? As for example, there's millions of people in this country that are dying of cancer every single year, and yet I know for a fact that you can go from cancer to no cancer without any pharmaceuticals, without any doctors, without even medicines and prescriptions. Just a holistic shift in your lifestyle. Totally real, totally doable. It doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't require fancy technology. It's actually just very simple. Right? So that's very real and that's very possible. And I'm not the only one that knows that. And yet there's millions of people that are still dying of cancer. Right? So the whole purpose of what I am here for is I want to share what for me has been the most freeing and enlightening and blessed revelations, realizations for myself that is manifesting in an experience that feels really good. That feels really good. And that's really ultimately what it all comes down to, is feeling really good, because when you feel really good, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you're with, it doesn't matter what you have, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And that's why heroin addicts get addicted to heroin. Because they shoot up this heroin and it's like, whoa, nirvanic bliss, whoa, and they're like, oh my God, life is amazing. Oh yeah. And then, it wears off and they're like, oh shit, this sucks. Like, where do I need to get some more heroin? Right? And, you could say there's a difference between heroin and alcohol and, marijuana and, any other type of drug, even coffee or high fructose corn syrup. But in many ways, they're actually just the same thing. So rather than saying, oh, this is bad and this is good, or, this is right and this is wrong, like let's really look at the depth. Why is what's happening really happening? See, what I have found is that most people that wake up in an alarm, they don't wake up in an alarm because that's what they're so inspired to do. When you're a child and you get asked, what do you want to do when you grow older? Oh, I want to wake up at an alarm every morning at 6:30. Have you ever heard a child say that? No, you haven't ever heard a child say that. See, children are really beautiful because they're still real. They're still real. And adults, let's just be honest, guys. There's so much conditioning. There's so much filtration. There's so much supposed to, have to, and should. We've already pre-decided. Everyone, before they even got here, everyone pre-decided that, no one was going to be sniffing crack, in their chairs while Phil is, doing the door prizes. Right? Everyone's already, decided, okay, this is something that's not appropriate. You've already decided that, okay, I'm not going to run up and start humping Quinn's leg when he gets up and starts to speak. Because that would just be inappropriate. Right? And there's millions of other things, too. I'm not going to piss in the corner of the building because that's inappropriate. Right? I personally agree that it's not very considerate, to piss in the corner of a building when there's a bathroom there. But see, I actually completely and totally and 100% disagree with the sewer system in general. No enlightened society would have a sewer system. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. So, I'm not actually sure how much better, pissing in the corner or pissing in the, sewer system really is, to each other. 99% of every amount of fluid that comes out of my urinary tract, it goes outside. It costs nothing. And when I say costs nothing, meaning every time you flush your toilet, you're actually paying for that water. But the cost is actually much greater. The real cost is so much greater than that. And most people don't even really consider or think about those things. Like, one of my favorite things to talk about is just like a plastic bottle of water. Because billions of plastic bottles of water are, being, drank on a daily basis. And it's just this normal part of life. It's this normal part of life. This normal part of life. And it's like, oh yeah, whatever. You see them every single day. You see them every single day. You see them every single day. People buy them at Walmart. They buy them at the gas station every single day, every single day, every single day. And it's just a normal part of life. But for me, it's like, what? Are you serious? I haven't bought anything at a grocery store or a restaurant or a fast food place in 13 years. What? You see, like, the contrast there. Forget right or wrong, forget good or bad, and just look at the contrast. Just look at the difference. It's a huge difference. And the only reason why that's happening is because of my perspective. It's my perspective that is dictating what I do with my life. And the Garden of Eden is a manifestation of that perspective. Okay? So, the Garden of Eden is the place where there's way more than enough of everything. I've got this closet full of just the most epic threads, the most beautiful wardrobe you've ever seen. I've got on-demand hot water. I've got food growing right outside of my door. I can go pick it fresh, the best thing you possibly can't even buy. I get to wake up whenever I want to. I don't get sick. I've been sick one day in 13 years. Oh my God. And I've done crazy stuff too. Crazy stuff. I've been to India and I've been to Africa with some of the most sickest people, like people you just wouldn't even want to look at them. You think you're going to get sick just by looking at them. You're like, oh my God. Like skin boils and, like misshaped, feet and legs. They can't even walk. you know, like crazy stuff. And I'm, you know, touching their hands and I'm giving them hugs and I'm eating their food, and there's no soap. There's no silverware. There's no napkins. There's no toilet paper. There's feces on everything. Everything has feces on it. I'm just eating it. Seriously. I'm in India, I'm in Africa, and I've got videos of mosquitoes just landing on me, and I'm just like, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Immunizations, immunizations. For me, they're immunizations. They're not dangerous, they're not toxic. They're immunizations. I'm the living proof of this. I'm not saying you should go out and do that. I'm not saying that you're not going to get West Nile. I'm just saying that in the Garden of Eden, we've got hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes. And I've got photos of me with 25 mosquitoes on my leg, right at the critical time of West Nile. And they're just sucking on my blood, and I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay. So again, I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just saying, this is what I'm doing, and it's pretty interesting. It's pretty different, right? It's not something you're seeing on a daily basis. And there might be something that we can really glean from that. Life is so much easier, and this is the main point that I want to make. Life is so much easier when we come together with common purpose. We're all going to be different. You know, even if we all eat food and then we all poo it out, even though some of us think it's disgusting and some of us are like, oh, that is gold. Right? There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. So what I'm saying is when we focus on common purpose, when we focus on those similarities, we can do really amazing things. We can do really, 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 really amazing things. And so, for example, like I said, I don't know anyone that says, I want to wake up at an alarm clock at 6:30 for the rest of my life. I also don't know anyone that says, I like getting sick. I also don't know anyone that wouldn't say, I would love to be super healthy. And yet there's a lot of people that aren't healthy. They want to be, but they're not. That's where the problem is. If you like being sick, then that's great. But if you don't, that's what makes it a problem. The sickness in and of itself isn't a problem. If you love waking up at an alarm clock, it's not a problem. But if you don't, then it is a problem. See, it's not about the alarm clock or the sickness. It's not about the mosquitoes or the feces on the food. It's about the relationship with that. That's what it's really about. Right? So in the Garden of Eden, you know, we're living this life. And for us, it is that dream life. It's the Garden of Eden. It may not be what everyone else wants, but it's what we want. And we feed people for free. You know, we feed homeless people. We feed, you know, women and children. We feed, you know, woofers from around the world. We've had people from South America and Central America and Canada and China and Europe. Right? They've all come to the Garden of Eden to, you know, spend some days, spend some weeks, and, you know, have some experiences. Right? We fed those people. We've shared vast wisdom and knowledge and experience with those people. Right? We've done that. And the people that come are people that want to be there. And then there's billions of people that don't even know we exist. And that's okay too. Okay, well, we're living this life, right, that for us is, you know, getting closer and closer to the dream. You know, it's not perfect. You know, the only real perfection exists is in the peace of the imperfection. I am at peace with the imperfection. I'm at peace with it. It's okay. It's actually a blessing. The imperfection is a blessing, because if it was perfect, it would suck. See, the contrast is sort of like oneness. Everything is nothing. Right? So if you ever achieved that perfection, it would become boring. It would. It would become boring, and that's why we need the contrast. That's why we need that contrast. You know, the sun sets and the sun rises. The waves roll in and the waves roll out. All of Earth, all of nature is built on this cycle. It's a cycle and it's an exchange. It's a death and it's a rebirth. Death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Death is birth and birth is death. That's the way it actually is. That's the way it actually is. My favorite example for this is put a plastic bag around your head. and then duct tape it. How long before you really have a really intense desire for oxygen? Not very long. And you'll pretty much do anything to get that oxygen. And you probably claw through your flesh if you had to get that oxygen. Well, you're breathing out your own death. You're killing yourself with your own breath. You're killing yourself with your own breath. Now, take a big plastic bag and put it around your whole body with a tree and duct tape it. You can keep breathing. And the reason why is because that death that you were breathing out, it's actually the life for that tree. And that tree, the death that they're breathing out, if you put that tree in a plastic bag and duct tape it, they would die too. But you put you in there, your death is their birth. Your death is their life. And their death is your life. Without each other, you die. You see? So complete opposites, and yet completely integral to the circle of life, to the experience of existence itself. It's all that simple. Every facet of life has that profound awareness contained within it. You give me any example of life and I can bring it to that symbiotic exchange. It's happening in every single moment. There's an exchange that's taking place. Death and birth, death and birth, death and birth is taking place. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. That cycle, and it's taking place on bigger and smaller scales. So, it used to be that the scientists, they found out the atom existed, and they're like, oh my God, this is the smallest molecule that exists in the universe. And then they found something smaller, and they're like, oh my God, this is the smallest thing that exists in the universe. And then they found something smaller. This is the smallest one. This is the God particle. This is God found in our microscope, in our super, molecule extractor machine. All right? Well, if you expand out, you can see the same thing. Right? We find a new planet. We're like, oh, wow, that's the furthest planet. And then we find a new galaxy. Oh, my God, that's the biggest galaxy. And then we find a whole new galaxy. Oh, my God, there's infinite galaxies. Ah! But it's all just the same thing, right? If you look at the way the galaxy spins, it's the same way as like a hurricane spins on our Earth. And there's this ratio. It's called the divine ratio or the golden ratio. And if you've never heard of that, look it up. It's this really amazing thing. It's a mathematical formula that you can find basically everywhere in nature. And all of nature it's existing from the building blocks of that mathematical formula. So the how long the leaves are on a plant compared to the other leaves on the plant is based on the golden ratio formula. The way the branches, you've got the staggering of the branches on a plant. It's the same thing. If you look at the face has the breakdown of the golden ratio. The space from the forehead to the nose, and then from the nose to the bottom of the nose, and it's all spaced in this golden ratio. And if you look at it, it's this amazing thing. It helps you to really see the truth that we're all interconnected. We're all interconnected, and we're all exchanging in this circle of life, in this experience of life. And so, at the Garden of Eden, we're living this life that's really beautiful because we're honoring and we're tapping into this circle of life, right? We don't, trash doesn't really exist for us. Like I said, our shit is gold, and we don't put that in the sewer system. Because for me, that's like as far from truth as I could possibly go. I'm all about the real simple things. The real simple things to me are the extremely profound things. I haven't used toilet paper in over 2 years. How many people do you know that can say that? And I'm not doing it just so that I can say, hey, guess what other crazy thing I do? I was in India I was in India, and I went there to build sustainable homes for people. And while I was there, the mass majority of the Indians, they didn't have toilet paper. And they didn't have it because it's like, oh, toilet paper is the, abomination of Christ. They didn't have toilet paper because they can't afford it. The average Indian is making, 50 cents to $1 a day. I mean, can you imagine that? 50 cents to $1 a day. Your bottle of water costs more than that. That's real. That's very real. And guess what? A vast majority of these people are very happy. They really are. And they're actually very healthy too. And so my point is that they're really, like, there is species everywhere. So what happens is that when they go to the bathroom, not only do they not have toilet paper, but a lot of times they don't have running water. Right? So a lot of times they may not even have soap. That's just normal. That's just normal in India. Right now here in the United States, what? You didn't wipe? Despicable! Oh my God, you didn't wash your hands. We're gonna die. Ah, get out the bleach, hurry! Spray the whole house. Oh my God, poo is the grossest thing that ever existed. We're all gonna die. Oh my God, oh my God. Like, that's very real. Like, most humans I know are terrified of poo. They are. I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. And I can see, because, a lot of poo stinks pretty bad. When something smells that bad, it's your body sort of letting you know, you don't want to eat that. That's not a facial scrub. That's not your clay mask. Right? And our senses allow us to do that. Our senses allow us to do that. And I use these senses very powerfully. Like I said, I've lived out in the woods before with nothing but a knife. And I've done that without any books, without any training. So, like, when I go out into the woods, I don't, know every plant that grows in that region and which ones are edible and which ones aren't. I just go out there and I look at plants and I'm like, okay, that one looks pretty edible. And some people might think, well, there's no way you can know. That's ridiculous. But for me, I'm pretty much right every time. And then, so my first test is, okay, well, that looks pretty edible. And then my next test, is smelling it. Okay, that smells pretty edible. And then the next one is taste. Okay, that tastes pretty edible. Now I'm going to swallow it. And then I swallow some. And then time passes. Time goes by. Okay, I'm fine. Now I can eat a bunch of this stuff. Pick it and start jamming my mouth full of it. It works. Every single time it's worked so far. So far it's worked every single time. I haven't been poisoned. I haven't died. Right? That's just using my senses. So, senses are very powerful. But see, my senses also tell me that the way that we as humans, especially Americans, are living is extremely unsustainable. It's extremely unsustainable. Basically, every single facet of our life is completely and totally and utterly sustainable. My senses tell me that. And the proof is all around. Did you know that 1.5 acres of forest is being deforested every second? Oh my God, those numbers are staggering. You do a little bit of math there. That's 190 acres a minute. That's hardcore, man. My heart just but I'm not denying that fact. I'm not trying to run. I'm not trying to hide from that fact. It's important for me to be aware of that. Right? So am I contributing to that? Yes, I still am contributing to that. But like I said, I haven't used toilet paper in over 2 years. I'm not cutting down trees to wipe my ass. I'm definitely not doing that. I don't have any magazine subscriptions. Definitely don't use paper towels. Haven't used paper towels in, probably 12 years, 13 years. No paper cups, no paper plates. Haven't ever used those in my entire life. Again, there's no judgment here. I'm just telling you what to me is real. This is very real to me, and so how can I, in awareness that it's real, do it anyways? To me, that's what dishonor is. That's what dishonor is I'm dishonoring my own truth. That's all I'm doing, and I'm hurting myself more than anything. See, here's the thing, guys, is that the earth is going to be fine. The earth has been here for millions, billions of years, and it's going to keep on going. Humans are fragile, and their environment is fragile. And the human environment will be destroyed far before Earth is destroyed. So we're really just killing ourselves. We're not actually killing the Earth. Yes, we are raping and pillaging and ravaging the Earth. Yes, we are chopping it and burning it and, sucking it. Yes, that is happening. But it's really actually mostly to our own detriment. So selfishness is a really big key. I was conditioned away from selfishness, as most people are. Most people are conditioned away from selfishness. Selfishness is this bad thing. Oh, selfishness is the worst thing. It's the worst thing. But if you are not selfish, if you're not healthy, if you're not abundant, right? If you're not responsible, if you're not functional, what do you really have to offer somebody else? I know children that have been smoking cigarettes since they were 10 years old because their parents were chain smokers. Cigarettes were everywhere. No judgment. But let's just be honest here. Your child was smoking since they were 10 years old, and they're 30 years old now, and they have cancer because they've been around smoke their entire life. Let's just at least be real with that. At least be responsible with that. You don't have to. But there is no escape, there is no freedom, there is no rebirth without that responsibility. So again, the contrast, I love the darkness. I love the darkness because that darkness is an opportunity to meet myself. Right? I know that I am responsible. I'm not blaming the people that wipe their ass with toilet paper. And I'm not judging the people that have their children in cribs. And I'm not hating on the people that take pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals to me are one of the most ridiculous things that have ever existed on this earth. I wouldn't touch them. I haven't touched it. That's my own personal preference. Right? I'm not saying it's right, but what I am saying is I've only been sick one day in 13 years. So what that means is that I figured something out. If you like being healthy, or if you like the prospect of being healthy, then I definitely have something to offer anybody that cares about that. So that's what the Garden of Eden is about, is number one, being selfish and living the most awesome life possible, because no one can give me the most awesome life. It's impossible. I have to claim it for myself. I have to create it. It's like freedom. No one can give you freedom. If you're given freedom, then that authority has power over you. It's not freedom. Freedom is claimed. You have to claim it, and you have to protect it. You do. Freedom ain't free. Now that doesn't mean we have to have wars over it. It doesn't mean we have to spend $1 million on a bomb. $1 billion on a bomb. We don't have to do any of those things. So in the Garden of Eden, we're living this awesome life, the most awesome life we possibly can, and it's changing all the time because we don't have to do anything. And so maybe we're doing a workshop for free every single week for 2 months, and we're loving it, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey, I'm kind of done doing this. And then we're like, okay, guys, we're done doing this. And then it's done. And then 2 months later, we're like, hey, man, it'd be fun to have a workshop again. And that's what we do. We don't have the most money, we're not super rich. But we have way more than enough of everything. I've got the 5S iPhone Gold. The most awesome phone on the whole earth. And yes, it was made in China. And it was probably made by, slave labor. And it was shipped here over the seas. I'm not denying any of that. I'm not pretending it doesn't exist. But what I use that iPhone for every single day, I take at least 15 to 20 photos of the most beautiful children that I've ever seen in my entire life. And every time I'm just like, oh God, yes, thank you. I'm just basking in the glory and the beauty of it. And if you've ever seen my Facebook page, it would take you probably a couple days to look at all the photos I've got on Facebook. I mean, it's insane. It's not right or wrong, it's not good or bad, it's just part of what I do with my appreciation for the beauty of that is life. Right? I'm recording this right now. I'm here for free. I'm here giving you guys what I have. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just giving you what I have. I'm giving you what I have because I have to give it. And again, for me, that's part of being an honorable being. Is sharing. Is sharing with my fellow man, with my fellow woman. You know, not just my fellow man, but nature itself. You know, the possibility, the potential for greatness, for sustainability, for love. Oh, man. So living that most awesome life and then sharing it with anybody that wants it. Again, I'm not going door to door, but anybody that wants it, you know, here it is. Here's what it looks like. You know, let's just talk about real quick what goes into the food. Do you actually know where the food that you eat comes from? Do you actually know what's involved in it? And a lot of people now know more than, say, 10, 15 years ago because of, you know, documentaries like Food Inc., you know, Forks and Knives. There's a lot of documentaries now on the, you know, agricultural system that exists and how horrendous it is. Completely and totally unsustainable in every single way. There's nothing sustainable about it. Right? So a lot of people are aware of that. But yet simultaneously, okay, we're aware of how much this sucks, but what do we do about it? Because all of our food comes from a grocery store, and I don't know how to grow food, or I don't have land, or I don't have the time, or blah 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 blah. And this is why it's so important that we come together. And part of what we do in the Garden of Eden is we come together. Like, you know, I'm not just living there by myself, or it's not just me and a woman and kids. You know, and we have to do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the chores, all the growing, all the making all the money, paying all the bills. Well, you know, that's a lot of freaking work, man. Holy cow. I mean, sometimes I think about the people that wake up every single day at an alarm and they go to a job. And on Friday, you know, they're cashing this paycheck. And most of that paycheck is already gone by the time you cash it, because they've got rent to pay, they've got utilities to pay, they've got car payment to pay, insurance, an oil change, new tires, you know, new clothes, you know, kids' field trip, vacation. Like, it's all paid for. It's already gone. It's already gone. It's already gone. And, you know, people are working so freaking hard. So hard. Like, people are working hard, man. Like, they really are. And what do they have to show for it? You know, they're getting older every day. You know, their back is tighter. They're more stressed. You know, their hair is, you know, falling out. Their, you know, skin is getting wrinkly. You know, they're jaded. You know, oh man, being jaded. Oh, so sad. You know. So we're living this life in the Garden of Eden, and obviously we're doing things in a way that most people aren't doing them. Right? We're aware of that. And while we think it's amazing, while we love it, we're not out there saying this is the way you should live, this is the way you have to live. Yet simultaneously, we had some people, right? People, living, breathing, men and women, tell us that they have the authority to tell us how we can live our life. Not just like suggesting, not just saying, hey, you know, we'll give you a free workshop on this thing that you're really interested in. But actually saying, not only are you not allowed to do that, but we have the authority to punish you if you don't do what we say. Now, obviously this story is, you know, for me, hits real close to home, right? Because the facts are is that this is so real, right? This is so real that a 20 plus man SWAT team, right, shows up at the Garden of Eden. Full battle regalia. We're talking bulletproof shields, full body Kevlar, sidearms with the flashlights on them, fully loaded assault rifles, machine guns. right? The big masks with the big, polycarbonate shatterproof, visors, with lights on the side of them. The electricity guns that, shoot out and zap people. They got the mace, they got the club, like full, like ready for war. Right? 20 plus of these guys come. 20 plus of these guys come to the Garden of Eden. Right? A place where, we lie naked in the sun, we feed each other with our fingers. We don't use silverware either. It's just another thing to wash. It's way less intimate, way less sensual. And for us, like, we're really going to have an experience. When we do something, we really do it. If we're going to do something, let's do it. It's like when I breathe. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to really take a breath. I'm going to really take a deep breath. I'm going to really, really breathe. So when we eat food, we really eat food. We make the most amazing food. We really do. It's just out of this world amazing food. So, we're very peaceful people. We're very peaceful people. And they come in as though, we're Saddam Hussein, or Osama bin Laden. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. What I'm saying is that we were treated the way they would have treated someone like that. They come in with not only with their guns loaded, but they're pointed, right? And so they come in and pretty much everybody's asleep, right? And this includes, 2 children, one of which had just turned 2 years old and one of which had just turned 2 weeks old, right? And they're asleep with their mother in their bed. They're all naked, right? Because that's how they were born. You're all born naked. If you forgot that, you're all born naked. You all are. And every child that I've ever met before they're severely, severely conditioned and suppressed loves to be naked. They love it. They freaking love it. In fact, children, when they come to the Garden of Eden, they normally don't want to leave. Their parents are all ready to leave because they've already got their next 60 years planned. Right? And they're like, okay, time to go home. We got dinner, and then, 758,000 more dinners after that at 6:30 p.m. The children are like, what? Can we please stay? Please? It's like children come and they have to ask their parents permission. Can I get my hair wet? It's like, oh, man. Like, can I take off my shoes? No, you'll get hurt. Like, that's so common. I mean, come on, let's be real. That's super common. And if you go to school, let's just be real about that. If you go to school, you have to wear shoes. There is no choice. And that includes clothes. You have to wear clothes. There is no choice. And you've got to show up and you've got to do your homework. And you can't argue with the teacher. You definitely can't argue with authority. Right? Conditioning. Hardcore conditioning. So that when something happens, like, holy shit, I just realized how to live the most amazing life possible. I'm living and thriving in the Garden of Eden. No, you can't. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll never do it again. Right? But it doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on me because I've seen the truth. Because I faced the darkness. I faced the darkness. I already know what it's like to be completely and totally miserable. I know what it's like to dislike being alive so much that I wish I wasn't alive. That's as much as you can possibly dislike being alive. Period. I know what that's like. I've already faced that. I've already been there. And I've also been to the place where it's like, they're both real. They both exist. And I'm not going to give this up. I'm not going to give it up. I won't give it up. It's too amazing. It's too awesome. It's too powerful. In fact, I'm going to live it more fully every single day. More fully every single day. More fully every single day. So this battle-ready SWAT team comes, right? And, we're treated as terrorists. Treated as criminals. And they come in there and put every single person in handcuffs, including the mother, right, of the 2-week-old child, 2-year-old child who was asleep in her bed, with these children, nursing them. Everybody. Everybody gets put in handcuffs. And we know a lot more about the law than most people do. And the reason why is because I realized a while ago that the judges, the attorneys, the police officers, even the sheriffs, they're not actually following the law. They're acting in the color of law. They're not following the law. And there's no one in here right now that can prove that otherwise. I guarantee you that. I would have a debate with anybody in the whole world in a public arena about that. There's no way they could beat me. There's no way they could beat me in that debate. The facts are undeniable. There is no law. There is no due process of law that's being followed. It's the color of law. It's all judicial procedure. It's judicial procedure. 85% of everybody in the United States in jail right now is in jail for a victimless crime. They didn't hurt anybody. They didn't hurt anybody. They didn't pay their traffic ticket. You know, they didn't get their registration renewed. They didn't get a license to cut hair. People are in jail for not having licenses to cut hair. You know, this country was not built upon that. This country was not founded upon that. And that's what's so crazy because, you know, I seem to be a lot more aware of the way our country was 300 years ago, you know, than the people that are, you know, much older than me. And the only reason why is because I've gone back there and I've researched and I've looked and I said, you know, like what was really going on? What's really going on now? So I've been questioning a lot of things, and the reason why I know so much about the law is because I saw, again, my senses told me that there's a problem here. Something's not right. Something's not right. So I want to find out what the truth is. So I know what the law is, and the law very clearly states that I, as one of the people, have the right to be secure in my person. That's a fact. The law very clearly states that. I have the right to be secure in my possessions. Right? My house, my papers, my effects. That's a fact. No one debates that. And yet that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. The exact opposite is what's happening. I'm innocent until proven guilty. Okay, then why were machine guns fully loaded, pointed at my face? Why was the mother of my children taken away from them? Why? Was she dangerous? No. She's as far from dangerous as you can possibly get. It's just, I mean, you know, come on, you know? So if that's happening, what does that mean? It means something. Because here's what's really, really scary is that we're not the only people that this kind of a thing is happening to. You know, like I said, this hits pretty close to home for me, right? Because it was in my home, right? This was my land, right? We own this land. It was paid for a long time ago. We're not even paying a mortgage on it. We own this land. We've built a family on this land. We grow our own food. Right? We make our own clothes, we, you know, get water from the well, we have chickens, you know, we lay out in the sun, we don't use heating, we don't use air conditioning, we don't use the school system, we don't use the medical system, you know, we almost never leave, you know, because there's really nowhere to go. We get to do whatever we want every single day, however we want to do it. We don't know anywhere else we can do that, so we don't go anywhere. The only time I go anywhere is to do this. Because this gives me quite a bit of freedom. You guys aren't really quite ready for like the full like whoosh, you know? But this, you know, I have a lot of opportunity here because the reason why you're here is because you have some interest in what I have to say. So it gives me an opportunity to share that. So this hits real close to home for me. And obviously we're all in this metroplex, so, you know, it might hit a little closer to home for us. Some of you knew me before the raid even happened, so that, you know, is a little close to home for you as well. But the more research you do, the more research you do, the more you're going to find is, unfortunately, this is not rare. Police forces across the United States are being militarized. That's a fact. Dallas has their own tank. A tank. One of those military tanks, you know, with the tread things and the big bazooka on the front. Not only are they militarized, but these militarized police forces are actually being trained in urban warfare. I mean, that's a fact. That's a fact. You can find all of this information as a fact. The more information you research, the more facts you will find to prove what I'm saying right now. And due process of law isn't being followed. There are 8 times more innocent Americans killed in SWAT raids than by terrorist attacks. What? Are you serious? I mean, that's like even almost more mind-boggling than there's 1.5 acres of forest being deforested every second. You know, because I mean, that's sort of like, yeah, well, you know, the mega corporations and those, you know, consuming, you know, people, they shit a lot, man. They gotta wipe their ass all freaking day. That's a lot of trees. You know, but this stat is so crazy because the government and the police, right, they're actually supposed to be protecting and serving the people. But that's not what's happening. The exact opposite is happening. So they're using taxpayer dollars, and from our estimates and other estimates, at least $100,000, if not more, money was spent on this raid. $100,000 plus. They had over 20 fully battle-ready SWAT people. Like I said, they had a whole block of police cars and vans and buses and trucks and tractors and trailers. They had tents set up on our land so that they could, you know, stand in the shade, you know, and drink their water bottles and take their shifts. You know? And so they come, right? $100,000, taxpayer money, no less. Taxpayer money, right? Did you say, yes, let's go raid the Garden of Eden? No. And I don't know anybody that did say that. In fact, every person that I've talked to said that this is ridiculous. Even the people that think we're crazy, which there's a lot of them, right? Even the people that think we're weirdos, there's a lot of those too. They still say, well, you know, they are weird, but they have a right, you know, to grow their own food if they want to grow their own food. They have a right to stack their wood the way they want to stack their wood. You know, if they want to have a couch out in the front yard, you know, and let it get moldy, well, you know, I think it's a little bit weird, but they don't deserve to go to jail for that. And we definitely don't need to spend $100,000 to send in an army, you know, to tell them they can't do that. I mean, well, what about court? You know, like, aren't we supposed to be able to have due process of law? Like, aren't we supposed to be able to, you know, bring differences to the table and, you know, put facts on the table, put, you know, perspective and opinion, and, you know, like that's what due process of law is. And see, that's not what's happening. So, actually, the real truth is that back in January, it's almost a year now, they sent us citations, right? If you don't stack your wood properly, we're going to fine you $200. If you don't remove indoor furniture from outdoors, we're going to fine you $250. If you don't cut your grass, we're going to fine you $385. And if you don't pay that, we're going to put out a warrant for your arrest. What? I mean, that's real. So, here's the thing, is that when we got these citations, I was like, okay, you can't do that. I disagree. I'm not complying with that. I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to bend over and just allow you to have your way with me because I'm scared, because I'm ignorant. I'm going to stand up for the truth. So we wrote them back a letter and we said, you know, look, for the record, this is what I'm aware of. I'm one of the people. Now, just that statement in and of itself is this really big thing. And if you could just grasp the implications of that, your whole life would actually begin to change. What does that really mean? Because one of the people is not a person. They're completely and utterly and totally different things. It's not a human. Completely and utterly and totally different things. It's not a citizen. It's not a citizen. It's one of the people. Now, if you go back many years, back to the Declaration of Independence, you know, it's just, right? The real truth is that we created a government, right? We created it, which means that we're the creator, which means we supersede. We have the power. We created it by the people, for the people. If you were a king or a queen, would you ever make rules that weren't in your benefit? Would you ever give superpowers to people that you didn't trust? Of course not. Okay, so when the sovereigns, which was everybody in America, created the government, they created the government as the rule book. It was a rule book for how the government officials, the public servants, had to act. That's what it is. See, the Constitution doesn't give us any rights. If you think the Constitution gives you rights, you're on the completely wrong track. See, we created the Constitution. We created the Constitution.